There is an invisible code that separates women who merely dress well from women who truly command respect. And this code is not in the clothes you wear, but in the words you choose. 5 expressions are sabotaging your elegance right now, and you have not even noticed. I am Carol, and I will show you how your speech is revealing more about you than any designer bag ever would. If you want to learn the codes that sophisticated women master, subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and leave that like so that more women discover how to transform elegance into something lucrative. You know what fascinates me? While everyone is obsessed with the next fashion trend, truly refined women are playing a completely different game. They have understood something that took me years to discover. You can have the most expensive wardrobe in the world, but if you open your mouth and use these 5 expressions, you are instantly placing yourself 3 steps down on the social ladder. Is it cruel? Perhaps. But it is reality. The first expression that is destroying your credibility is that maybe that you insert into everything. When you say something like, maybe we could schedule a coffee, you are revealing an insecurity that no Chanel sandal can disguise. Recent studies show that women who use hesitant language are perceived as less competent in selection processes. But here is what nobody tells you. This word has its place. Use it when you are genuinely launching a hypothesis or when you want to be intentionally cautious. The problem is when you use it as a crutch because you are afraid of seeming too assertive. Replace it with, I suggest we schedule, or simply be direct. Let us schedule a coffee. Do you notice the difference? One posture indicates that you are proposing something with confidence. The other sounds like you are asking permission to exist in the same space. Stop and think. How many times have you said this just today? Second lethal expression, I think. This small verb is making you seem less qualified than you really are. When you say, I think this idea might work, you are diminishing your own opinion before anyone even has a chance to disagree. It is as if you placed a glowing sign above your head saying, feel free to ignore what I am going to say now. Linguistic research indicates that women tend to use more expressions of uncertainty than men in professional contexts, not because they are less confident, but because they were socialized to be more cautious when expressing opinions. Therefore, replace it with, I believe this idea will work, or I see potential in this proposal. You are not being aggressive, you are being precise. And precision is elegant. Using these expressions is like serving champagne in a plastic cup. The essence may be there, but the presentation ruined everything. Now let us talk about the expression that makes me cringe every time. Like. This linguistic habit is making you seem like an insecure teenager, even if you are 40 years old and have 3 university degrees. When you say this is like complicated or like, you are filling the space with noise instead of content. And here is the worst part. Every time you use like as a crutch, you are signaling to whoever is listening that you do not completely master the vocabulary necessary to express your thoughts. The solution? Replace it with what linguists call a strategic pause. Speak more slowly. Do not be afraid of the brief moment of quiet while you organize your thoughts. Refined women are not afraid of pauses. They use them as verbal punctuation. A well-placed pause has more power than 1,000 likes scattered through a nervous speech. These words are like wrinkled clothes in your speech. You may be wearing silk, but if it is all crumpled, no one will notice the quality of the fabric. Fourth saboteur, excessive diminutives. Before you criticize me, let me be clear. I love a good diminutive, but there is context for everything. When you are in a professional environment and say things like, let us schedule a little meeting, or I prepared a little report here, you are systematically diminishing your own work. You are asking not to be taken seriously. A study on corporate communication showed that professionals who use diminutives excessively are perceived as less authoritative and less qualified for leadership positions. The diminutive has its place in personal, affectionate contexts, when you want to create genuine closeness. But when you are negotiating your salary or presenting a project, leave the diminutives aside. You made a report, not a little report. You want a meeting, not a little meeting. Give your work the dignity it deserves. And we arrive at the most treacherous expression of all. Sorry, but. Every time you start a sentence with these words, you are apologizing for having an opinion. You are creating a confrontational climate before even presenting your point of view. Research on salary negotiation shows that women who use more direct language have more success in securing raises, but only when they avoid starting with apologies or disclaimers. When you disagree with something in a meeting, do not say sorry, but I do not see it that way. Instead, focus on the fact, not the person. Say, I would like to present a different perspective on this specific point. You are contributing to the discussion, not attacking anyone. Have you ever wondered why some women are taken more seriously without saying almost anything? Now, let me be completely honest with you. When I started paying attention to my own linguistic crutches, I was horrified. I used like in practically every sentence. I started everything with maybe. I diminutivized my own work constantly. It took me months to break these habits, and I still have to watch myself. Because these expressions are not just random words we choose. They reflect how we were taught to occupy space in the world. Women are socialized from childhood to be gentler, more cautious, more concerned about not offending anyone. Therefore, we use these expressions as linguistic cushions. But here is the brutal truth. While you are padding your language to not seem aggressive, other people are making direct statements and getting the promotions that should be yours. Let me tell you a real story that perfectly explains this. Patricia, 38 years old, manager at a marketing company, extremely competent, delivered above-average results. But in every meeting, she started her speeches with, I think. She was passed over for promotion to director. The reason? It was not lack of delivery. It was the image of insecurity that her language conveyed. The director who passed her over did not even notice consciously. But when it came time to choose whom to promote, he simply could not visualize Patricia commanding a room of executives. Because his brain had registered months of verbal hesitation, this explains why that less qualified colleague was promoted before you. Speaking of codes that separate those who merely try from those who truly master the game of elegance, do you know the difference between looking elegant and being treated as elegant? Most women believe that it is enough to buy the right pieces. But truly, sophisticated women understand that there are specific visual, behavioral, and social codes that signal belonging to a certain social level. That is why I created the Look Rich Without Spending Much course. In it, I teach exactly what these codes are, how rich women really dress versus how most people think they dress, which details make all the difference, and how you can apply these principles without spending fortunes. Because elegance is not about price, it is about knowledge. And this knowledge can literally transform how you are perceived and treated in the world. We have a promotional price now, so take advantage while it is available. The link is in the description. Going back to our sabotaging expressions, what makes me especially irritated is that these small words carry disproportionate weight. You may have prepared for weeks for a presentation. You may have solid data, impeccable arguments, brilliant solutions. But if you sprinkle your speech with likes, maybes, thinks, and sorries, you undermine your own credibility. It is like building a perfect house and then putting decorative cracks in the walls. Why would anyone do that? Because we were trained to do it. And here is something you need to understand. When you clean these expressions from your speech, some people will think you have become harder, colder, less likable. Let these people think what they want. Because while they are worried whether you are being likable enough, you are being taken seriously. And being taken seriously opens doors that likability will never open. But there is a subtle aspect here that I cannot fail to mention. This is not about copying how men speak. That is the trap that many corporate communication consultancies fall into. They basically say, speak like men speak, and you will have success. That is a mistake. The goal is not to masculinize your speech. The goal is to remove the crutches that weaken any speech, regardless of gender. Men also use like. Men also use maybe. The difference is that when men do it, people tend to focus on the content of what is being said. When women do it, people focus on how it is being said and use that to question her competence. Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was in a meeting with potential investors. I had prepared an impeccable presentation. I knew every number, every projection, every answer to every possible objection. But when I started speaking, I was so nervous that I started almost every sentence with, I think that. I think the market shows. I think our data indicates. I think we can achieve. One of the investors interrupted me in the middle and said, do you think or do you know? It was a brutally embarrassing moment, but it was also the moment that awakened me, because he was absolutely right. I did not think. I knew. But my language was betraying my knowledge. After that day, I did conscious work to eliminate these expressions. And you know what happened? The same people who used to question everything I said started accepting my points of view without so much resistance. Not because my knowledge had changed, but because my way of communicating had changed. Because the world judges, silently. And the way you express yourself defines whether you will be treated as an ordinary woman or as a woman of presence. Authority is not bought, but it is communicated. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but Carol, if I speak like that, I will seem arrogant. They will find me difficult. Here is the difficult truth. You are already difficult for some people. For the simple fact of having opinions, of wanting to grow professionally, of not accepting less than you deserve. These expressions are not protecting you from these people. They are just preventing the right people from taking you seriously. And let us talk about something nobody mentions, the opportunity cost of these expressions. Every time you use hesitant language, you are not just diminishing that specific sentence. You are building a reputation over time. People start to see you as someone who is not sure, someone who needs constant validation, someone who can be easily convinced to change their mind. And when an important opportunity arises, when they need someone to lead a critical project or represent the company in an important negotiation, they do not think of you. Not because you are not capable, but because the language you used over months or years created a perception of uncertainty. So here is your challenge. Record yourself. Record one of your conversations at work or an important call. Then, listen. Count how many times you use these 5 expressions. I guarantee you will be surprised. Because these words hide in our speech like unwanted guests that we do not realize are there. After identifying your pattern, choose one expression at a time to work on. Do not try to eliminate all of them at once, because that will make you so conscious of your speech that you will freeze. Start with the one you use most. For me, it was like. For you, it may be maybe or I think. Focus on that one for a week. Every time you are about to use it, pause, breathe, rephrase. At first, it will seem artificial, but in a few weeks, it will become natural. And here is the bonus nobody tells you. When you clean these expressions from your speech, something interesting happens with your thinking as well. Because language and thought are deeply connected. When you stop saying maybe everything, you start thinking more definitively. When you stop diminutivizing your work, you start valuing more what you do. It is a virtuous cycle. Your speech improves your mindset, and your mindset improves your speech. And some of you will apply these changes and will feel resistance, not just from other people, but from yourselves, because it will feel strange. It will feel like you are being someone you are not. But let me ask you a question. Is the person who uses these expressions really you? Or is it the version of you that was trained to make yourself smaller to fit into spaces that were afraid of confident women? The version of you that deserves to be in any room does not need these linguistic crutches. She can express her thoughts with clarity, defend her ideas with conviction, and occupy verbal space without apologizing. You will do better than other people because while most women are focused only on the appearance of elegance, you are mastering the invisible codes of refined communication. While they are buying the right bag, you are learning the right language. And when these two things meet, when you combine impeccable visual presentation with assertive and clear communication, you become unstoppable. Let us recap what you learned today, because this transformation begins with awareness. First expression, maybe. Use only when you are genuinely launching hypotheses. For everything else, replace it with I suggest, I propose, or simply be direct. Second, I think. It is diminishing your own opinions. Replace it with I believe, I see potential, or simply state with confidence. Third, like. Linguistic crutch that makes you sound immature. Replace it with strategic pauses. Breathe, organize your thought, speak with intention. Fourth, excessive diminutives. They have a place in affectionate contexts, but not in professional environments. Your work deserves to be called by its full name. Fifth, sorry, but. You do not need to apologize for having an opinion. Focus on the fact. Present alternative perspectives without creating a confrontational climate. These 5 changes will not transform you overnight, but in 3 months you will look back and will not believe the difference. In the way people respond to you, in the way you feel when speaking, in the confidence you project naturally, because you will not be faking confidence. You will be communicating who you really are, without the layers of protection that society taught you to use. And here is what really matters. You do not need to shout to be heard, but you need to know exactly how to speak to be taken seriously. That is what truly elegant women master: the right silence, the precise word, the firm tone. And respect comes without needing to ask. That is true lucrative elegance. It is not about wearing the most expensive clothes. It is about mastering the invisible codes that separate women who merely participate from women who command. If you like this video and want more women to learn these refined communication codes, leave in the comments a phrase you use most and want to eliminate from your vocabulary. This will help me understand what the most common challenges are and create even more targeted content for you. If you want to support this type of content and have access to exclusive videos, consider becoming a channel member. Starting at $4.99, you become part of our club. Click the Become a Member button. Before you go, let me share something quick. If you are working on your image and presence, I have something that may interest you. My digital book, Elegant Portraits with AI. I bring 100 prompts that transform your photos into professional and sophisticated portraits. Because your online image also communicates elegance, and having portraits that reflect sophistication can completely change how you are perceived in professional and social contexts. We have a launch promotional price. The link is in the description. Remember, words create worlds, and the words you choose today are creating the reality you will live tomorrow. Choose wisely, speak with intention, and watch as doors begin to open.